Hello, gorgeous faces. Okay, people are staggering in. Hello, hello. It's so good to see you all today. This is going to be a really good call. I've got to tell you a story behind this. Okay. Okay, guys. I have something a little different for you today. I've got Kayleigh Beth Smith with us. She is so basically, I was talking to one of our veteran narrators, Lori Kane. And Lori kept saying, "Oh, I'm doing these singing lessons." But Lori does every lesson, every single thing. She's like one of those people that you don't know how she does it all. She works and she continues to educate herself. And I'm like, well, me, I can barely brush my teeth. I'm not going to do singing lessons. I'm a horrible singer. I had this story about myself as a singer. But then Lori kept talking about it, and it started to sound a little bit intriguing. She was saying, "You have no idea how much this is helping me. You have no idea how much this is changing my narrating, the actual way I physically narrate in the booth." And now that got my attention. And I was like, "What do you mean it's changing your narrating?" And, we're always trying to improve, and we're always trying to, no, I don't think I've ever met one narrator that doesn't have something they're trying to fix or not do or do differently the minute they step in that room. And you fix that one thing and it's the next thing. And I started to wonder if I wasn't doing myself a disservice because I was horribly self-conscious about singing. So I wouldn't let my voice go anywhere musical because, and it's funny, after I signed up with Kayleigh for singing lessons, I realized that the reason was that when I was young, I was like 10 years old on a swing singing my Hollywood musicals because I was going to be the next musical star. I knew every word to every song in My Fair Lady and Cabaret. Cabaret was my favorite. And the neighbor popped her head over the fence and said, "Don't quit your day job." And I had thought that I was the best. I was sure I was a star. And I went in and I was so offended. And I told my mother, expecting her to say, "Oh, that's ridiculous. You're a star." And my mother said, "Oh, honey, we all know that. It's okay. You do other things well." And I never sang another word ever since. But this is the point of this long-winded story. I mentioned it to other narrators, this big revelation about my unique part of life. And I think today, 7 other narrators have privately messaged me to say, I had almost the exact same experience. And then when I did meet with Kayleigh, who immediately made me feel, I had tried a singing lesson in the past and ran crying from the room. We won't go into that story. And Kayleigh made me feel at home and comfortable. And it wasn't a big commitment because I could sign up for one class and then I could not sign up if I didn't feel comfortable or felt scared. I did keep signing up, but other narrators all had the same experience. And I now realize that it's people have that same experience. And that when we're kids, there's always someone out there trying to take our music away from us because they don't have their music and they're afraid. And Kayleigh got it. And later in the call, we'll talk about the different things that she made me see and realize, but she did, I can say, literally in the first lesson, change the way I looked at my voice and experienced my voice when I recorded. Kayleigh, when you were 10 years old, what were you thinking? What were you doing? What were your plans and dreams? Tell me about 10-year-old Kayleigh.
Hello everyone. 10 years old, I think I wanted to be a rock star. I think I was always drawn to the stage when I found out that that could be a job. I wanted to do that. A lot of
Already at 10 years old, because your
10
parents were
years old.
musical, weren't they?
Yes. My dad was a a music teacher. I would say he was in like his pedagogy program for his master's at Westchester University. He's a pianist. My mom's a singer. She also songwrites. So I just grew up with music being a part of my life. But when I told my parents that I wanted to perform, they said, good luck. So as much as I had people in my corner believing in me, I even had my parents say to me, maybe, have a fallback. Be a teacher. Be
Which
a
would almost
songwriter.
be worse because they're in the industry, and then you feel like, well, they would know, wouldn't they?
Yes, yes. But 10-year-old me was such a big dreamer, and I still think she's still part of me because I'm still doing it, still here.
I love that. I love that. So do you feel that you were always quite a confident child? Were you kind of outgoing or shy or self-assured?
I got a great story. So my first performance ever, I'm in preschool, okay, and I was in like the Christmas story, and I was one of the three magi, and my mother to this day remembers me turning my face this way. I did not look at the audience. My face was this way. And she said I turned green. And by the time that I was able to get off, I ran down the hallway throwing up because it was such a big deal for me to be on this stage at 4. And she said it was interesting. At 5, something changed. All of a sudden, I was like, okay, the worst thing that could ever happen to me on stage happened.
Love
So
that.
our kindergarten musical where we were dressed as presents, and my mom said I walked out on stage like, I have arrived, and she said, that's my girl. And I think on the stage, that's been the most confident I've been. I will say I am a very outgoing person, but I have a lot of social anxiety. So even like knowing that it's just you and I've talked forever, I still had anxiety thinking about there's still people watching me today. This is still kind of like a performance. You know what I mean? Um, so it's very different. If we were like having this live podcast in front of 10,000 people, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But like this type of space is very different, feels intimate, but it's exciting all the same.
And these people are like, you're never going to find a like more generous audience. They're like rooting for you until we get to the quirky question section, and then I can't be held responsible for them. They go, they go, and yeah, get very creative. Okay, so school, were you holding on to that dream all the way through school? Were you focused? Did you ever get off track? Did you go through the dodgy guys and bad choices stage?
I love that. The dodgy guys. So I mean, middle school, high school, did the musicals. I, did extracurricular activities where I was doing like concert choir, show choir. When I decided to go to university to be a music major, my dad works at this small Christian university called the University of Valley Forge. It's in Phoenix, Pennsylvania. I really wanted to go to NYU, and my dad said, well, you can go to NYU, but I can help pay for this school. And I went,
Oh,
oh,
see.
free education. So, I love New York City, and I knew it was going to be a part of my journey sometime, but I had to make that financial decision. I knew that I was going to get a good program, and I already sat through classes. All my entire life has been me sitting in my dad's classes, and answering questions. As my dad still remembers a time where I was in one of his college classes and he asked a question, no one raised their hand. I'm 8 years old going, that's a F major scale. And my dad's like, she's meant to be in this world. So I think music has always been my track. I'll say like I've gone back and forth about like the different, I think it's like a pie chart. Sometimes performance is the big part of the pie. Right now, teaching is 80% of my pie and a little bit of performance, but now I'm recording. So it just continues to change, which makes my life way more exciting.
But it's also part of the same thing, isn't it? I know this sounds like such a cliche, but it's all going towards your instrument, which is you.
Yes. And, you and I haven't even spoken about this, but recently I came off of, now it's 4 years that I've had my master's degree. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, I just had this inkling in my head where I was like, you got to claim that promotion. And I went, I think I might go for my doctorate in the next year or two. I don't know if I want
Wow.
a DMA. I don't know if I want a PhD, but that's really cool for me to know because I've just been questioning myself for a while. Am I just doing this because it's easy? No, school's very hard. A dissertation is very hard, but it's exciting to think, oh, I'm climbing that ladder of academia, which is kind of exciting for me.
I love it. You know what? You made me realize something because, and I look at the other narrators, and a lot of them have backgrounds as singers or they're voice artists, or a lot of narrators come from other artistic backgrounds or have always wanted, they're artists, their heart and soul. I don't care where they come from, but it feels like every bit they take on, it's the same as what you're describing. It's this like need to become. And like we don't know the whole picture, like what we want to become. But each time we decide on a next step, it's like this, like, ooh, I get to reinvent. So now I have a really big question for you because it's driving me crazy. I tried to look it
Okay.
up when I did the promo video. If you studied pedagogy, doesn't that make you, what does that make you? A pedagogist or a pedagogy? I couldn't find the adjective.
I like, okay, so I think the noun is pedagogue, but I wouldn't put myself, so this is a funny question. This is a funny answer actually. So a lot of my students recently are trying to find names for me. So the vocal ninja, the voice wizard, Jedi voice master. Like, I'd rather those names than I am a vocal pedagogue of this
Is
form
it a
of vocal
pedagogue?
pedagogy.
Is that
I
like
think it's
the
pedagogue. Yeah, but I have an advanced certificate in pedagogy. I feel like once I get my doctorate, I could say like I have a doctorate in this vocal pedagogy with these different arms of study. So if I wanted to go into acoustics, it'd be more of like a PhD. So I think pedagogue would be my short answer, but I would rather be a voice Jedi master.
Okay, I want to get to the singing bit, but I want to ask another very important question for my own personal curiosity. So have you actually auditioned for a Broadway play?
Yes, I haven't been in one, but being in the room, I've done Six the musical. I've gone in for Frozen, which I mean, look at my face. We're very,
Wow.
very Disney-esque. I've done like the off-Broadway things just because, that's easier for me to get but
Do you have an
recently,
agent?
no, I don't. I'm trying to figure out if that's the route I want to be, if I want to stay in theater or I've been writing more, so maybe I want to actually pursue the being a composer, maybe a singer-songwriter, who knows? But we'll see. I'm kind of in that like searching season again. But I will say if I decide that I want to stay in theater, yes, I think an agent would be the next crucial step to making it.
Okay, so I want to talk singing because, and the other, not just Lori and I now, other narrator, I know another narrator, I don't want to name names unless they've, put them in the headlight, but other narrators have gone to you as well. And I can't honestly say that I understood anything that we did in our sessions or the purpose of them or anything, but I knew that I felt better afterwards. And the most revelatory thing that you taught me, I mean, the biggest thing you taught me was, no, you're not tone deaf, because, and having somebody listen to you stops that, because how can you be a narrator if you're having this self-consciousness with your voice? You
Right.
can't. You have to break through, so guess my question is, what is it you're doing when you're teaching us? What are you listening for when you're listening to a singer? Is it different the way you work with somebody that's an actual singer or wants to be a singer, and with somebody that just wants to not be afraid of their voice?
So, can I use us as an
Oh
example?
yeah, I've got no shame at this point.
Awesome.
135 calls, they've seen everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
um, so it's easy to use you as an example because of the fact that you're actually one of the reasons why I've decided that I wanted to go into a doctoral program, because there's a lot of
Oh,
there's a couple different options that you could go into the study of psychology and how your mental health or what's happening from like past traumas could affect your voice. But you can also go into the whole ear training. Why do people feel the need to tell others you can't sing, or tell others you're not on pitch? And so it was interesting when you and I started. Everyone has pitched their voice. I mean, every narrator you always know, and this is why I love you guys so much, and I love working with narrators, because you know how to make these funny sounds, and know like different characters make different, you have so many different combinations, right? And
yeah.
sometimes I notice in narrators specifically, you get stuck in a character, especially if they're a comfort one. And it's usually not your narrator voice, which is funny. We all have the hello, my name is Kayleigh Beth Smith, or you know what I mean? Or, hi, my name is Kayleigh Beth Smith, and this is like, that's my audition voice.
Yeah.
A lot of us get stuck in one of our characters when we sing. And so the first thing is to fully kind of strip that away. And I noticed that you liked being in a lower position, and you did say you do like singing those lower frequencies. And so I like played a note on the piano, and at the moment you didn't match it. And what most teachers will do after that is go, oh, they're tone deaf. They won't even give you a shot. And what I noticed recently is that if I meet you halfway and come down to where you're at and walk you up, you were able to sing multiple songs. Me finding where you're at. And all of a sudden you're going, I can match pitch now. Oh my gosh, I can sing Do Re Mi from Sound of Music. And I believe that's what we did. And we did
My
Cabaret. And
poor bird, that's the only song I'll sing to him now, because I know I do it right.
you do it right. But the thing is, you can still carry that with you forever. And so that's what's been kind of really cool working with narrators, is kind of finding that comfort in what your actual voice is. Not, okay, this is my professional voice and this is my manly voice of da 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 da, this is my grandpa. But what's fun is that I get to use your strengths to help me get the configuration that works best for you in your chest voice or your mixed voice or your head voice, which also makes my life more fun.
Okay, I've got 3 thoughts. Oh my God, so fast. I hope I don't forget the third one, but okay. Yeah, 3 thoughts. First one, I've completely forgotten. Second one, working from the outside in. That's why I loved the singing lessons, because I wasn't thinking about doing warm-ups and fixing my voice. So the conversation that I always have is, am I doing this right? I'm tight. When I try to fix my voice, I'm tight. I'm trying to fix something broken. Singing, I had nothing, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I just followed it. So that inner critic kind of had to get out of the room, because it literally didn't have a clue. You brought that up. I thought that was amazing, because singing was an outside in way of pulling yourself out, but making yourself pay attention. And then the last thing that was life-changing to me in all the lessons was, you said you're a visual person, which I never thought I was a visual person, ever. Never even thought of myself that way. I guess it makes sense now that I look around at my faux fur life with glitter and jewels everywhere. But you said to me, if your voice is too low, put your hand here and your voice, and my voice followed my finger. I was like, unbelievable. I still use that as much as I can. Can't move too much in the booth.
Right.
But how do you just instinctively understand this about people? How did you learn to teach that way and give people what they need? I
You know,
don't understand how you know what each person, how did you know I was a visual person? I didn't
uh,
know it.
so it's interesting. I love my job because I always say, yes, I'm a voice teacher, vocal coach, voice Jedi, but I'm getting paid to be a professional guesser. I actually don't see exactly what's going on because I don't have an MRI who's looking at your throat or looking at your different shapes in the vocal tract. And so when we first started, I was doing a lot of like tests. I call them my vocal fitness tests. And so it's interesting, like, well, pinch your nose and get it all the way up here. And if you're not able to get the nose, then like I'll try to figure out, oh, does that make your voice sound better? And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You know, maybe it was sometimes you and I talked about where your voice gets stuck back here. So and we were trying to figure out, okay, am I a little bit more forward? Does that feel a little bit better to me? That feels better to me because I feel a little constricted today because of phlegm. I feel much better from that. But when I had you one day, I said, why don't you just think about using your hand, following your hand? Your voice immediately responded.
Yeah, it was the
I
weirdest
went,
thing.
and that's, you have to clock that as a coach or as a teacher. You have to clock, okay, that person needs this. A lot of other narrators, they like when they have long sentences, and I know probably most of you do this. It's when you have a long sentence and you know you can barely make it, you're either pushing your hand forward to get out, get all the words out, get all the words out, because you can't just be stuck in that text, right? You can't just be like seeing all the words. You have to be in that character and moving that flow as soon as possible. So visual learners, they need something moving. They can't just say, "Oh, get the flow going." If you told me that, I don't know what you mean by that. But as
Yeah.
soon as I allow myself to understand, okay, this is my thought and I'm going to get it here and get it here and get it here until I'm at the end of my sentence. Notice there's no at the end, there's no
Yeah.
vocal fry because I followed through, you know? And so my teacher found that out about me. And so I get to experiment with other coaches, other students as well. Long
It
story
changed,
short.
and that one hack stopped me because I was starting to sound like truck driver Bert, like all the time. Like, and that one hack I can now control where I want my
Mm.
voice to go at all times. And I know for Lori, you'd done warm-ups that were like, and but it's like a give and take. It's like how long a session's a 30-minute session, and you do this like give and take, and it's just like playing with sound. So what about when you have like real singers, like proper singers? What's the goal? To get a song to sound wonderful? Or what's the goal when you work with a singer? It's obviously going to be different than when you work with a narrator, right?
Now I'm going to sound a little cliche, but we're all singers. So when I hear real singer, I'm really trying to change the I'm
Yeah.
trying to change the language here. But
Yeah.
I will say singers who are getting paid professionally to sing. A lot of them have goals. It's usually they have music that they need to get on their feet for an audition the next day. I have a student who she booked a job and needed to sing much higher than she's comfortable within 2 months. And so we have specific goals and specific songs. So for singers who sing professionally, professional singers, that's what I'll call them. We'll
I
call them
like
that.
that. So I'm a real singer too.
Yes, yes, we are all and it's funny in the voice world, it's crazy when you talk between the vocalists who sing music and the vocalists who are narrators because it's very interesting these days. It's just now being told that you guys are professional voice users. That like the science within the last like 10 years, all of a sudden voice teachers are like, "Oh yeah, narrators need us too. If anything, you guys need us just as much, because
Yes,
you're
because who
actually
else
using,
stands and talks for 5 hours a day
and I
for
know I don't.
years?
And that's the thing, is that, like, as a teacher, that's why everyone, we name them professional voice users, because even a teacher is technically a professional voice user. They cannot do their job if they don't have their voice, and they come to voice lessons to help figure out how to project over yelling students. Or I have like lawyers come in who can't practice law because they can't speak in a courtroom for a certain amount of time. They come to voice lessons to heal their voice, to project over. So I know I went to multiple topics. This is why you and I are good and bad for each other, because we get really inspired and go many different directions. But
That's
to
the
answer
point of
your
these calls.
question, back on the professional singers, I would say they always have goals. While, like, with beginning singers, their first goal is, can I just sound good? And you go, yes, you can. Oh my gosh. Or I have students that are like, I don't match pitch at all. And I love to prove them wrong in the first lesson, because usually I do. Even if
Yeah.
it's a small range, everybody can match pitch. It's just a matter of, I got to meet them where they're at, and I'll walk them up, and we find your range, and then we play around with that range, and we end up singing songs. Like, my new favorite song to sing with my newer singers is Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis. I feel like it's like super chill, everyone knows it, and it's a beautiful song to get right off the bat.
I
So
like that.
if you
I
want to
do
sing
like
it,
that.
we're in.
I do like, and I think I had a, okay. First of all, I have to say, you guys, it doesn't have to be quirky questions this time. If you've got questions about your voice or anything in the booth, Burke says, when criticized for my singing, I often ask the critic to sing for me so I can hear how it should be done. I love that. It's perfect. I've got to confess, you are right. There's a reductive kind of thinking when I said real singers and not real singers. And I did it today because I keep birds, and this is my third bird. And my last bird, Sergey, was really musical. He followed every tune. He would sing whole choruses. He would dance. This bird, Vlad, talks a lot, not doesn't actually follow the tune. And I said to my husband today, I said, is he tone deaf? Is that a thing? And I'm thinking, okay, really? Birds know how to sing. Okay, you can't, everyone does everything differently, don't they? Just so, there's a vocal person that was saying on some Facebook post that you can't sing wrong. It might not sound like the accepted way people want to or used to hearing something, but it can't be wrong because humans are made to make music. Do you agree?
I agree, absolutely. That's how communities were formed, was they came together and sang with their tribe. It started with throat singing and chant, and then for celebrations, they're singing and dancing together. That's why it's such a big deal in the position that I am in right now. Like, I've had multiple teachers. You're not the only one that has that story, that someone's looked at you and said, you're not good enough. I've had.
That's so sad. It's a lot of people, isn't it?
And people don't understand how hurtful it is. Like, I've had teachers tell me I wouldn't make it in New York, and I just finished my 6th year. I've had people tell me that I don't have a recording voice, so I didn't write music for a very long time, and all of a
Did
sudden,
they back any of that up with why they thought any of that stuff? I don't know if that would be better or worse. I think if they said why, then I would believe them more.
A lot of them said that I had a too classical voice. I was an opera singer. I decided I don't want to be an opera singer, but I did get my master's in opera performance. So they just said, oh, your voice is too classical for the stuff that you're writing, or you sound young. But everyone's going to have an opinion. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to have that one opinion. And so it's been interesting going through a master's program. We actually had to, there's one class, we definitely did pay a lot of money for this class because I was like, I forget how much money you spend on a master's degree. And for some classes, you're listening to YouTube links of the, oh yeah, Pat Benatar did sing opera.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting how I lost my thought because I got really excited about Pat Benatar. I thought
You're not allowed to read the chat.
I know, it's my bad. My bad, everybody. I'll just go back to the thought of I am in such a powerful position on the words that I say to students of all ages. I have kids who are 12 years old who are having the biggest dreams like mine, and they want to audition for their region. They're auditioning for their regional musicals, and I was like, I was just doing the school musicals, and I thought I was being brave. And here are these kids going out for Into the Woods, and they're like actually going to Broadway auditions. I have a friend who her entire studio is child actors who are on Broadway right now or doing regional tours. And you go, man, if I knew that I wanted to do theater and like told my parents were rich, because we all know money is a thing here. Yeah. But I will say, the things that I say are so powerful. And so like when I get any student that gets in front of me, I feel that energy in the room. And when they tell me their story, I listen, because I have to change my language, because sometimes I say something that I think is completely okay, but a student had someone say something around that and have a complete anxiety attack because I said that word that a teacher
and you
said
might not even know
ago.
it, because when I said real singer, I didn't even realize that was a thought. But here's another thought. I used to be really jealous of people that quote unquote had it easy, like they were guided in the right way and they were able to aspire to all their childhood dreams, because I had big dreams when I was a kid. But like, really, if you gave me the chance right now, I wouldn't trade my dodgy guy, bad decision period for anything. Do you know what I mean? That's like,
yeah.
Some of the things along the way where you screwed up or didn't start earlier or just went to school and maybe weren't, you know what I mean? I think these calls have taught me we all have different backgrounds, but the hard time comes for all of us. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Eventually. It's fertile ground for inspiration. Yes, Kim. Does nobody have any voice questions? Because you've got the guru here. Like, seriously, take advantage. Like, I think I was a hot mess when I came. I was like, first of all, am I tone deaf? Second of all, I'm too self-conscious. I can't actually sing a word.
Yes, you talked a lot. You talked a lot. You said, don't let me talk through all of the lesson. And that first one, you totally did.
Not that I had ulterior motives.
No.
The more I talked, the less I had to sing.
I guess, like, can I ask myself a question?
Yes, like, please. What do you think we need to know? What do you wish you could plant in our heads?
Oh, I love this. Okay. So I think the biggest thing for you guys is vocal health. A lot of people, you've watched so many different YouTube videos, you've watched, you've been in coachings, you've done a lot of things. The problem is that different things work for different people, right? So I could tell you exactly what works for me. I could tell you, like, I have my fancy, let me show you, I got my fancy lozenges that are incredible. Like, everyone's seen these, right? The Grethers, if you have it.
They taste magical. Really good. They don't help me at all.
But to me, I only have one a day and I'm set, but also I have like the Costco size bag of Ricola because I'm not allowed to chew gum. And one of the narrators that is also part of your community, we talked about, you know, what gum could do for our hydration. And, you know, I have TMJ, so gum is not something that I can do. So if your doctor or dentist or orthodontist has told you not to chew gum, please don't, especially those who have jaw issues. But man, if you chew gum, that keeps you hydrated forever. So like you could chew gum while you're listening to yourself. Like that's the biggest deal about your job. It's the hours of speaking, but also the hours plus of editing. And so like when you're in the middle of each take, you could have like, I mean, it's kind of gross, but we've all done grosser things. Just have a little gum wad thing. You could put your gum wad back down and say something and then bring it back up. I think, you know, we always hear the words like warm up, warm up, warm up. I get it. I roll my eyes because I'm still speaking to the the peanut gallery when I say I don't warm up every time that before I teach, and I know I should. But like once you get yourself, you need like a long one and a short one, and you need to make sure that you're doing your extremes safely. I have a lot of narrators who play with, a lot of you've seen the lip trill, right? And they do that like, and they squeeze the top, and when you hear that, that is not what we need to be playing with. So make sure
You're
it's your
not wanting to sound like Jiminy Cricket.
No, I don't. Unless you're actually doing a character of that. So like remember when you're warming up, you're going to your most comfortable extreme for the day. I know this is hard for a lot of you, but science is now proving that 7 hours of uninterrupted sleep is the best. And guess what, my friends? I know your life is so hard and you speak for hours and you edit for hours and you have deadlines, but 7 hours. Each day, even if you're just speaking to just without recording, there's cost to your vocal folds every day. And now imagine with your vocal loads of how much cost goes to your vocal folds a day, they need the rest to come back to full, healthy, excited to work for you again. But if you are doing that vocal cost every single day and not resting, it won't work. Another fun fact is I didn't know this until grad school. When people say, I have this sign behind me, it says, vocal rest and no speaking. Thank you. Have a nice day. A lot of people, they think like they have to go on weeks or like a huge days and days and days of vocal rest. Actually, most doctors only prescribe 24 to 48 hours. If it persists, then I would go see your ENT or otolaryngologist. But most, like, I don't know, I haven't had a hip replacement, but I know people who have. The day after surgery, you need to start walking. Like they want you to walk on it as soon as possible. It's the same as your voice. As soon as you lose your voice, each day I like to test it with, has anyone done straw bubbles before? And if you haven't, no. I've seen some no's. So
no, let's wait. Let's save that one till the end though,
because
we've got 3 questions. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
yes.
I definitely want to hit. And also, can I just interject? You know the Ricola that you held up?
Yeah.
Is that the Swiss stuff with the marshmallow in the ingredients?
Oh.
Because if it is, a lot of times, you guys, go and see someone about this. I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but a lot of times, if you have reflux, it can present as sore throat. It can present as cloggy sore throat. And the marshmallow in the Ricola helps the reflex for some people. I'm not a doctor. Don't take my advice. Go to your doctor.
It says mallow.
Yeah,
like MALO. So it doesn't say marshmallow, but is
yeah, that's the ingredient that helps. And yeah, it actually is quite good. So in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, go to see one. Can I throw some of the questions at you? I definitely want to do I think we'll do the bubbles for the big finish.
Cool.
Because that's a big thing. Burke says, in general, does singing help with narration?
Oh, I love this. I'm going to try to be as general as possible. I think that singing, I love what you said. You said it's coming from the outside in. You get into this narrator bubble, right? And you're just thinking of the different voices and, okay, I have a job to do and these are the things. And you just get so stuck in that bubble that when something like a vocal issue happens or something like a voice one of your characters is not working for you that day. We've all been there, right? Where all of a sudden I don't have any of my lows. Great, cool. I have to track all of these male voices for the day. Fun. What I've learned with at least now, I'm not coming from a narrator's perspective. I'm coming from the perspective of I'm a teacher of narrators. And what I've noticed is singing gives you a whole nother realm of possibility. It also helps us unlock some characters that you didn't know you had. So like somebody like Lori Kane, I went, oh, actually we can make your Disney princess-esque voice be a little bit brighter, or your child voice can actually be used as a tool to help your singing to be better. And also it takes away the weight. Because a lot of us, when we speak for that long, even if we're doing it correctly, like our coaches have asked us to do, and if you don't have a coach, you know.
But with Lori, you notice Lori can do, every time I hear it, I can't, somehow she manages to do deep and throaty, but clear and crystal at the same time. Like, I don't know how she does it. I can't put her voice down as anything because I've got the deep and throaty, but I can't, crystal clear is very difficult for me.
So that's what's fun about, so Lori and I worked on singing a lot of in the head voice. A lot of us, we don't really play with that crystal clear head voice. All of us think of head voice as the whispery guy.
Yeah.
We all think of that, but we actually don't think about head voice being that like crystal crisp feel, that like when we hear a singer, like, oh man, Whitney Houston could be up there, like, you know, those gorgeous oohs that
that's what that's what I hear when I hear Lori.
It feels so good. And she was able to access that because of singing lessons. And like we didn't finish many songs, but what was interesting is we were allowing songs to be a tool for her to access these places, because she also didn't like her chest voice at first. And then we realized, oh, okay, when we were singing in our chest voice in a song that's well known to us, I don't know which song it was at the time, but all of a sudden we were able to access a more forward position, and it was more fun. And all of a sudden speaking as like in her male characters felt less like a chore and more like, oh, okay, if I'm feeling that groggy, throaty placement, I know these certain things or this song could be my warm-up for the day.
Okay, well, it worked because she's got that sweet spot in her voice. Okay, Jonathan says, where did you get those pastilles from?
Oh, the Grethers. I think they're cheaper on Amazon. So like I got like a 3-pack. I'll keep it up for our friends. But so I just went on Amazon and I got a 3-pack, but also I kind of cheated the system, and they have like these refill packs for like $12, and that lasted me for quite some time. Again, these lozenges are not something that you need to be eating like candy. So like hopefully you're just using it to like soothe. And I'll show you the straw bubbles as well, to kind of help your voice get back to normal.
Yeah,
especially
I love
if
the
you need
straw
help.
bubbles.
Yeah, especially if you need help getting back into narrator voice, because sometimes it's really hard. We get stuck in that one character and we just can't kick her out of there. But
and you can get really gorgeous straws. I've got rose gold straws, guys. They don't have to be the ugly ones.
But yes, so Amazon, if you don't like Amazon, they do have their own website.
Okay, so I've got more questions. Susan says, and this is because this is a thing narrators think about a lot, breath control. I know that when I walk regularly, my breath is amazing because, you know, and a lot of us trained in theater, you know, but she says, what do you teach about breathing lightly while narrating?
So this has been an interesting thing because you don't hear a lot of teachers really talk about, oh, they have to like edit out every single breath. You know, there's a lot of, I know a lot of my colleagues, we've all talked about how do we get a full breath? Because you even heard me right now. It's like that's a lot. We can't have that.
And see, our trick is we have to still keep the breaths in, because it sounds badly edited if you make it dead silence. So you
So
have
need
to
like
have
a little bit.
Yeah, you have to have natural sounding breath, as if you've never sweat or moved in your life.
So
but you are still alive.
So think about this for a second. The more closed your mouth is, the more, like, you hear how that, like, more closed your mouth is, the more sound you have, right? So like some narrator coaches that I've had, they've talked about like the open throat breathing, where our mouth is open. People use that like through the nose. Guess what? I have a polyp in my one sinus cavity, so through the nose breathing is not my jam.
Ouch.
But like, I want you to really think about, the more closed your character is, the more sound it's going to make. So like, make sure it's very open. It's easier for me to have like the talk, 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 da 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 da. And like, once you start to realize that when you're speaking these words, depending, what I like is use that breath as part of your character, right? If they're running, yay. Let us hear that breath, right? Like,
yeah.
I really want you to think about that as well. But if you're also having those characters that talk like this, and we really do not want to hear those breaths, it's very interesting how each character has to have a different breath as well, which makes your job more fun, I think.
You made me realize something that I've been doing, I think, for maybe 6 months or so. And it was like a natural transition. You made me realize something, that when I stopped thinking about my breath, i.e., trying to not make it so noticeable, trying to go, oh my God, I haven't exercised, I'm so out of shape, I probably sound like I'm breathing. And I started using my breaths the same way I use my words. So I'm acting the breaths as well as the words. I'm not reading you a sentence and then stopping and hoping I don't breathe, or holding my stomach, diaphragmatic breathing. And I'm breathing, trying to breathe like the character. I'm breathing into the next line. And it feels really good. And I hadn't realized I was doing it. But I think I've kind of made friends with my breathing, with my breath. And of course, you have good editing afterwards.
I love that.
But then it's one conversation, it's one flow. Whereas your breath is started, the spaces between the words are as important as the words.
Right.
And in singing, it must be the same as well, isn't it?
Yeah, like, we don't want to, in recordings, like, my students, we've gotten to a point where it's almost too much breath, where we have too much to go, right? And so I had a student actually right before this call where I was like, it's really your body, we've trained it enough that it knows how much it needs to take in to say this sentence.
Yeah, stop thinking about the breath.
Oh, yeah. And stop thinking of it as breath support. Start letting it serve you. I like to call it breath energy, or flow, a flow state of mind. Because if we think support, it feels like we're just taking that piano up the hill, and then it's hard to take a breath. The minute
people say the word diaphragm, I notice everyone becomes like, let's to the back row, everyone. I've had a few days off. I don't think I've stopped and thought about how my breath sounds while talking to my husband or my bird. You know what I mean? We're talking naturally.
Yes, so. And for our nerdy friends, it was interesting. My first day of grad school, my mind was blown because my teacher started everything off with, so there's no such thing as diaphragmatic breathing. And I went, what does that even mean? I've been told, coaches, singers, my college degree, they've all told me that breathing from the diaphragm. Science within the last 10 to 15 years has just told us that it's not, if we're talking diaphragm breathing, people are actually tightening their abdominals and actually kicking the diaphragm out of its natural state. So really, if you're just thinking, fill your lungs and release your abs, don't push in your abs to get the sentence out. But once you start training your body to realize, oh, flow is something that's serving me and taking me
Yeah.
forward, we start to notice, oh, we can say more sentences, or we can get to that period that makes that statement for this character. I start to realize, even when I'm thinking about it now, you notice that like my speech is getting a little chopped up because I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
because I'm talking about it,
Yeah.
so
It's
keep
that's
it
the
as natural
struggle.
as possible.
And in the mind, and it's funny because I'm not going to go down this path, but it's really interesting to me because I started a practice years and years of dieting and self-consciousness, and I was always holding my stomach tight, and people hold a lot of their emotions in their stomach. And I read somewhere, I can't remember her name. She said, so feel your stomach, take a breath and actually feel what the inside of your stomach feels like. And is it relaxed? Is it tight? Is it holding on? And it was the weirdest thing. I don't think I'd ever felt my stomach in my entire life.
Right.
And even just in theater, diaphragmatic breathing, but you're forcing it. You're
Mm.
forcing your body to do something rather than like checking in to your stomach and how does it feel. And it's if you've never done it, it's kind of unnerving. More questions because I don't want to miss the bubbles. Jonathan, my voice is rich and deep in the morning, but as the day turns into the afternoon, my pitch goes up. Any advice for keeping my voice deep throughout the day?
I love these questions. It lets me be a little nerdy. So, I think it's a matter of you have to figure out, either is it naturally just moving, or is there a reason why, right? So, some people it's just natural that their voice starts low. I think all of us, when we all wake up in the morning, we have that, like, we could all be a man for a little bit, right?
Why? Do you think
But
it's because we're more relaxed or just because there's gunk in our throat from the night?
oh, I love that. I mean, technically, if you had a good restful sleep, absolutely. I think that's the most relaxed, the least amount of tension to your vocal folds because you didn't talk. And
Yeah,
you're
no,
just,
that's not me.
all they're doing is well, all they're doing is coming in and out with not a lot of collision. But I will say, I like to use these things called tools. So if like you need your voice to stay deep throughout the day, I like to think that everything's kind of hanging out. When I think deep, I don't think chest voice down here. I like to think that deep comes from the shapes in our vocal tract, which actually takes away some of that pressure from your throat. So like I like hum tools, so like you can pull out your lips and play, if anyone wants to play with me as well. If you pulled out your lips, go hmm, and molars together makes it even more crazy. Hmm. And I could feel this like, hey, oh, or like I like pinch nose exercises too, because if you keep it your voice round is what's going to help you get the more rounder, warmer quality. So it's not about, oh my gosh, I have to stay in my chest voice this whole time. It's actually more about the shapes that you're making up top. So maybe when you're watching yourself record, I know when I record, I have a mirror in front of me so I can see what I'm doing. So if that's another thing, if you're not watching yourself while reading and seeing what you're doing, your pitch changes by how your mouth looks, right? So like
That's
you all can
really
kind of
interesting. You
think
could put a
about that, because
mirror in there.
yes, because a lot of us, we don't think like we know how to get to a character, right? Like we can see. I mean, my only character that I have right now in my head is Donald Duck. I can't speak like him, but that like I know that like that guy. Like I all I know is that I have to like make my mouth go this way, that way, and get the sound. But watching myself is a whole nother thing, because if I have to switch from, so like that's why when I have to read, I keep things up instead of like thinking like I'm reading down. Things are,
Yeah.
my mirror and my things are up here. So if I don't think a line is going okay, I check myself and I say the line and I go, oh, it's because I'm making my chin go all the way down
I
here.
am
That's
so sticking a small mirror in my booth. I've never ever thought of that.
because what are we doing when we're bending our neck like that? You're crushing the vocal folds, and sometimes that's okay. We see beatboxers and voice users do that all the time, but if it's a specific way, like this, I can't really speak long like that. That's a lot. That's a lot of energy. So
Yeah.
yeah, know where your body is. It helps you be more aware, and then you won't need the mirror after that because you'll be more aware of the movements. Like I've been very aware of my eyebrows recently. I've gotten a lot of tension. So when I'm thinking a lot and recording, I'm like this, and all of a sudden I was like, why does everything feel so tight? Oh, my forehead. I looked at myself in the mirror and went, okay, that makes sense why my sentences sound like I don't even know how to talk.
But also it has a double, oh my gosh. Okay. Nobody, if you don't understand this, you won't understand this. I don't care. It's my theory. Whether you wear makeup or not, if you take care of yourself, like do grooming or look well or do something to make yourself look better. Some people dress up for the office. I'm not nuts, but some people dress up for the office, even if they're working from home, because it changes your mood and your feeling about yourself.
Right.
And I know that it's an easy way to hide in your booth. And I know about these calls that they saved me through the pandemic because I would be
Mm,
like not fit to like show up in public if I didn't have to once a week show my face. If
yeah.
I had a mirror in my booth, it would keep me dressing up. I like the word dressing up. A lot of people don't like it. Dressing up for myself, showing
Mm,
up for myself, clocking in, being aware of, I think that brings, I know other people might not, but I have a tendency to hide in my safe place, which is my booth.
yeah.
And
Now, I do better like when my space is clean
yeah,
or you know, but I also am a lover of I sometimes go to the gym and then teach 3 lessons in a row and I'm in my gym clothes. And guess what? No one can say anything to me because I'm giving them a good product and I go, I'm sorry, I just came from the gym. They go, good for you, girl.
but see,
So
to me, that's what matters. If you love your gym clothes, see, that's what
I
matters.
do.
I mean, I recently did a clear out, and it occurred to me, I dumped 35, 2 decades of clothes, right? And
Wow.
it occurred to me that I now have a wardrobe that most people would not show up in public in, like sparkles and glitter and every single piece in it I love. But I think what they
Mm,
meant, that Marie Kondo woman, was that I was supposed to keep the suits and shoes and dump the glitter and skinny clothes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's, if you feel good in your workout clothes, then that's what I'm saying. Dressing for you, the mirror in your booth, the way you want to look, showing up for
Yes.
yourself.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's incredible. Yeah, the only reason why I'm wearing real pants right now is because I have to go to a rehearsal after this. But guess what? If I didn't have to, like, I got the cute little shirt on. I put on earrings for you got a full face everyone today, but yeah,
But
I wouldn't be wearing real pants.
you always look, on every call I've had with you, you always look gorgeous and happy. And
And
that's I think why you're overbooked and there's a waiting list and everyone loves you, because we want to be around someone that's gorgeous and happy.
well,
And
and
gorgeous, I mean happy. I don't mean gorgeous. Like, it's so weird these days. You have to be careful what you say because you're going to make people
yeah.
think that. I don't mean that kind of
No, I
gorgeous.
know.
Um, More actual proper questions here. We got one more question, guys, and then we are going to, oh, this is a good one. And then we are going to do the bubbles, please. Question from Rebecca. Kayleigh said when she was little, she wanted to be a rock star. Who was Kayleigh's favorite rock star when she was little? Does she have a favorite? Oh, good question. Does she have a favorite popular singer now?
Oh, I love that. I'm really into now this is more pop rock, but Hayley Williams from Paramore. I kind of like her a lot. I don't know if anyone's heard of her before. She's got this. She's always had orange hair, and just that like spunky kind of sound, and I always wanted to be that. I like headbanging and I have the hair for it. So like that's what drew me to like rock and pop rock, was like I could jump and thrash around and no one would care, we're all doing the same thing. Favorite artists right now. I've been loving the fusions lately. So right now I'm into like I don't know if anyone's heard of like Jacob Collier. He's jazz and pop. I like Dirty Loops. They're also jazz and pop. They're like one of my favorite bands ever, but I also like Korean pop music. So I'm into Blackpink and 17 and BTS. So,
That's really cool. I might check out Korean pop.
yeah,
You guys,
K-pop is amazing.
also, when I was doing the promo, I found Kayleigh on Instagram. She has one song you guys said, seriously, listen to it. I mean, because you have a teacher and you don't actually stop and think, oh, they sing too. I was like, oh my God. It's really, really, really amazing. I want to do the bubbles, but I don't want to forget one final question. So I'm going to ask you the last question now. And then if we can do the bubbles to close out for the grand finale,
Great,
if that's
sweet.
okay.
I love it.
So for the YouTube audience who's going to be watching this 60 years from now, what would you want to be remembered for? Words of advice, words of wisdom. If you could leave people with one thing, what would it be? Piece of advice.
I think, wow, I love this question so much. I wish people would ask everyone this question.
Tell the other guests that half of them are like, oh God, what?
No, I think it's beautiful. There's so many things I would want to say. I already said it once in this call. Everyone's a singer. Everyone has something to express through music. Anyone can sing any song. We just have to change the key. The biggest thing that I've been kind of living by is Eleanor Roosevelt said, do something that scares you daily. So last week I started dancing in person again, which was scary. And I did Latin jazz, which was fun.
But you're on Instagram. You're a really good dancer.
I appreciate that. And the thing is, it's been interesting to like go through the people missed my dance videos because I got self-conscious. And so sometimes you have to remember that it's just the lies in your head. What I'm seeing are the lies in my head. But, do things that scare you. So, if voice lessons is something that scares you, try it once, see what happens. If, going for that book or that house or that agent scares you, just go for it. Send them a tape. If you need to re-up your tape and you're nervous about, like, are they going to hear that I sound different than I was before? Send in the tape. If anything, they'll like where you're at now because you've lived some life. If COVID's what's kind of stopped you, the world is still going and we'll be waiting for you when you're ready to get back in. But wow, so many things. But I cherish this memory now, and I don't know. Thank you for this opportunity. I know we're not done yet, but my heart is very touched by that question because, you don't get the chance to actually say what's on your heart and why you do what you do sometimes.
Can I go even just deeper on one thing you said, which is profound to me? Anyone can sing any song. You just have to change the key. Think about that in our job, guys. Because our whole job is about pegging us in what hole do we fit. Stay in your lane. And then what happens? Am I succeeding? Am I succeeding? Why? Am I okay in my lane? Should I be doing the other lanes? Everyone else is in the other lane and they've got all these awards, but change the key. Sing, because it goes back to what I don't know who said this, and probably Einstein or somebody, I don't know, that your soul isn't given an idea unless it's yours. You're given the idea for a reason. We get to choose which ones so if you get an idea, you don't say you don't fit, just change the key. You love a song for a reason, sing it. I love that. I love that. Fabulous guest. I love that. I love people that aren't afraid to go outside. See what I'm saying? It's in every lesson you talked to me as well. Not just stick to the facts, ma'am. Can you get a higher pitch? And I think you connect with people as humans, which is why we all love you so much, because you take that extra step and make it less scary for us. So, are we going to close on bubbles?
Yes, I would love to talk about bubbles. So it's so funny. So I brought my Hufflepuff straw because, well, I am that nerd. We must all have some type of nerdy thing that we do. But and also I will say Harry Potter was actually what kind of introduced me into the world of narrators, because I actually didn't read it. I had a narrator read it to me on Audible. Oh, wow. And man, that's all I do. So the job that you guys have, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, but man, people love it. So keep doing what you're doing. So straw bubbles, we see this on the internet so many times, and like people spend hundreds, sometimes hundreds of dollars on the specific singing straw, or like there's these huge voice straws that are like $25 and they're like thick as whatever. And I went, who told you to get this? You only need honestly, you can buy and like save the universe and get like an aluminum straw or metal straw. I also like, you know, you can grab a bunch of straws from Dunkin' and be okay. You know,
the thing is, the metal one hurts your teeth.
And that's why I like to get, there's ones on Amazon that are made with corn, and they melt, so they're better for the planet. So if you want to protect the planet, get the corn straws. You literally could just put it on Amazon or on Google and say corn straws, and they'll come up. So what it is, it's another one of what we like to call an SOVTP. It's a semi-occluded vocal tract position. And so what we're asking the body to do is to get small up front to create space in the back. And we're also allowing the body to go, oh, I can make sound without any pressure. And what's cool about this is our mothers used to tell us, don't blow bubbles in the soda. And we all looked at each other and went, but look, Mom, it makes the fizz, you know? And so I'm actually giving you permission to blow bubbles in your straw. So I have it filled up about halfway. Usually when I have students start, they start in halfway in the water, and you're just blowing bubbles and putting your voice on it. Don't think too hard about it. It's just... And the goal is to make it as easy as possible. Let's say your voice is a little thick and you did not get that sleep and you put it at the bottom. Now you're going to notice in my voice, this is going to be too much of a resistance at the bottom for me. I can't get that high note because it's too heavy. It takes a lot more effort. So my body needs more like middle of the straw. I also like top of the straw, which makes the least amount of pressure in the bottle. And it sounds like a Disney princess, I think. Now, why do we do this? A lot of us do our sirens, right? We do the, oh, right? And we play that. Sometimes our voice is not ready for that in the morning. You can also do that in the straw. And what's interesting about the straw is it allows us to start the day with knowing how much pressure it takes to get our vocal folds to go. So if you notice that it takes almost the full bottle of water for you to get your voice going, you got to stay on that bottle until it gets up to about a medium or even towards the top, because that means our vocal folds just need a little bit more time to get itself acquainted with the needs that you have for it.
How do you know if your voice is going? Because like, I don't understand how you know how high up to put it.
So for you, with all of the coughing, right?
Yeah,
I
you
always know
noticed.
coughing, and this is for anybody, or those who have had like those 7-8 hour days that couldn't stop themselves. Their vocal folds are thick and you can feel it. Like it's so much harder to talk. So you'll notice that it's hard to get up. It'll be
Okay.
hard to get that frequency up. It'll be easy to stay down here for sure, though. Hello, how's it going? And what's nice is that I didn't have that before we talked today.
Okay. I see.
Hey, how's it going? So you're able to actually like use it to play with your frequency. But if I want to go, hello, how's it going? I'm playing with this character, and this is how, and I get to actually play with how much flow I need to get her. Because what if I did that character and did, oh my gosh, totally different person, right? Oh my gosh.
And the mirror would help with that character.
Yeah, right? The mirror. So I like to do a couple things with the straw, guys. So like this will just be put in with your lip trills or your V's. Like there's, if no one knows what I'm talking about, like doing the keeping that vibrator up front as you go up and down the scale. If it falls back, that means you're going back to your throat. You want to keep all of your characters and your voice towards your lips. So a V helps you. Straw is another one of those things. You could do your sirens. You can also do what I like to call hills, where you start low and you go up a little higher. So you'll go. But my favorite exercise of all is singing a song on it. So if I use the song that I brought up today, Can't Help Falling in Love, I will do, so this is Wise Men Say.
Can you go past it to a point that it's tiring your voice out? Can you do too much of that? Or
you can, yeah, I would say, and you'll feel it, like especially if it starts to feel like it's too much, that probably means there's too much resistance here. Because think about it, the more resistance that you have in the water, the more resistance is coming to your throat. So if you're thick, you're going to want more resistance here to get things moving. But let's say you're having a healthy day. I didn't need all the way down here. I just need it up here just to get my voice to understand, oh, I just need to feel the flow. It's already even. Okay. And I would say every day, play around with them, like as throughout your day. Like I love when I'm teaching, I don't even put my voice on it. I just do a couple of those, like get that larynx all calmed down. And I just think, I think it, I don't put it. And all of a sudden my voice feels just a little bit clearer, or I start to notice, oh, there is phlegm in there. So it clears out that phlegm a little bit. So that's also why I use the straw. You can also use it to rehabilitate your voice after you've been sick. There's so many magical things to do. But like if you're scared of a song, you can actually sing it on the straw first and go, oh, I actually can like match this. Maybe I'll try it once by myself. And you notice that you actually can sing. So it's helping some of my students that are scared to sing songs actually go, oh, I don't mind singing it on a straw because it's a weird ass sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we're good at making funny noises too. It takes away the self-conscious. I still love the you can sing any song, just change the key. I still love that. I can't get over that one. That's like gonna stick. So pearls of wisdom. Okay, guys, here's the one where I want to say, I'm really torn about this one because I want to say, go to if you're interested in lessons, go to Kayleigh at Vocal Lab. But I kind of don't want to say that because I don't want her to run out of sessions because she's getting busy and I don't want to lose my spot. But where is it that they can reach you? What is it? It's Vocal Lab. And also I'll put it in the about section, but for people on the call.
So you can go to vocallabnyc.com. Or you can email info@vocallabnyc.com and you can request and tell that you got a referral.
Yeah.
You can, so find me, vocallabnyc.com, Kayleigh Beth Smith. Also follow me on the socials, Kayleigh Beth Smith. That's my full name.
Check her out on Instagram because she does this amazing song.
If you're in on TikTok, I have two. I have the Vocal Lab NYC. I run that TikTok and we talk about voice trends. So if you want to kind of stay up on the science or get a new tool each week, I'm here for you. I love getting nerdy with you. So if you just want to email me or just have a talk, I'm here. I'm ready.
Well, thank you very much. And I know I've skipped a few sessions, but I had really good excuses. So don't dump me because you're busy.
Oh my gosh, I know. And the thing is, what's lovely about absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So I don't judge people. Like, I didn't see my voice teacher for a lot of the pandemic, and now I see him once a month, and it's so lovely to like see how I've grown within that period of absence. And so I just can't wait whenever you're ready. But
that's what I loved about it, is it's flexible. So like it works really well for Geminis. So with short attention spans.
Yes.
Thank you. Sure. Kayleigh, this has been a pure pleasure. I'm so happy we were able to make this happen. And I will let you know when the video's out in 2 weeks, and we'll post all the links on the video for anyone that's watching this on YouTube.
Yeah, and if one call you want to do a live coaching, that'd be kind of fun, right?
Or you have maybe Lori wants to go.
or a brave volunteer will have a masterclass.
Yeah, volunteers, that's a good idea because I don't want to hog the limelight. So,
oh, stop it. But no, thank you so much for everything. I cherish your friendship. I feel honored that you asked me to do this, but also hopefully you'll ask me back because I had a lot of fun. And
you are the bee's knees. I'm still benefiting from the things you taught me. So fabulous.
Thank you.
Yes, anytime. We'll definitely have you back, and we'll all be singing. Well, they'll all be singing. Guys, it's been wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Kayleigh. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful questions. Mwah! Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.